Turning now to central Mexico, where at least 13 people were killed after a police convoy was ambushed by unknown gunmen. CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay is in Rome following this story as well as other headlines from around the world. Chris, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, we don't know who did the ambush. No one's claimed responsibility for it yet, but police suspect it was an armed gang. In fact, everybody who was killed in this ambush in central Mexico was either a police officer or an agent with the prosecutor's office that was patrolling the area for armed gangs. Now, social media images show police vehicles riddled with bullets and bodies alongside a road in the state of Mexico, which borders the capital of Mexico City. It's one of the most violent regions in the country. In fact, last year throughout Mexico, more than 500 police officers were murdered. Moving on to Asia, where the bloodshed in Myanmar continues. Security forces shot dead at least one person in the latest day of protests against a coup that took place last month. Ousted lawmakers are now exploring whether the International Criminal Court can investigate crimes against humanity. In the weeks of unrest, at least 224 people have been killed by police using live ammunition and increasingly violent tactics, according to activist groups. But that has not put off protesters calling for the release of elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Staying in Asia, we go to China, where the trial of a Canadian businessman charged with espionage has ended without a verdict. Michael Spavor was arrested 2 years ago, along with fellow Canadian and former diplomat Michael Kovrig, just days after Canada carried out a U.S. warrant to detain Meng Wanzhou, a senior executive at Huawei, the Chinese tech giant. Beijing denies the cases are linked. The court in China said it will announce Spavor's verdict at a later date. The co-accused, Michael Kovrig, is due to go on trial next week. Both men have been held in Chinese prison since December 2018. And more than 99% of Chinese cases end in conviction, we should mention. And finally, let's come to Europe, where much of France, including Paris, is set to go into a month-long lockdown amid fears of a third COVID wave. Starting from midnight, more than 20 million people in 16 areas of the country will be under COVID restrictions, albeit not as strict as the previous lockdown. For instance, people can still exercise outdoors. This after France recorded more than 35,000 new infections in the past 24 hours. But there is some good news. Today, France and several other European countries are resuming vaccinations with AstraZeneca. So France and several other countries, including Italy, where I am, had suspended the AstraZeneca vaccine after some very, very rare reports of blood clots. But the European Medicines Agency last night said that the vaccine was fit to use, and so now France and Italy and these other countries have already started using that vaccine again, putting one more very valuable weapon inside the arsenal in the fight against the pandemic. Anne-Marie?
All right, Chris, thank you so much.